defensive line. This is one where I was the author. So the official PFF rankings, aka mine, the New York Jets, number 1, San Francisco, number 2, and then Philadelphia, number 3. And this is another one of those interesting breakdowns between like depth versus star power, right? Like the Jets have a ton of depth. The Eagles have a ton of depth, albeit less proven than it used to be. And then San Francisco are the opposite, where theirs is driven by basically 2 absolute superstars in Nick Bosa, who we just mentioned, and then Javon Hargrave on the interior. Sure, they've added Leonard Floyd as well, but basically 2 guys are driving that ranking versus the depth that the Jets or the Eagles have.
So I came up with 2 of the same for the 3. I have the Jets. I think that they're the best defensive line basically until proven otherwise. Right? Quinnen's a stud. Jermaine Johnson's only getting better. You're adding Hassan Reddick for Bryce Huff, which I think is fine. Obviously, Reddick's even had more success. Maybe not as efficient, but more success in the backfield. You got Will McDonald as well. You add Javon Kinlaw. You're kind of taking a chance on him there. So, this is just a really good unit, and the Jets are the best defensive line, in my opinion, until they're not. I have the Philadelphia Eagles in here as well. Unproven, sure, but the talent ceiling of the Philadelphia Eagles is still so high for me. I think this is a huge year for Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis. I think they are going to become one of the best interior defensive line duos in the NFL. So I'm expecting them to get even better this year. Then you throw in Bryce Huff, who's had an above 20. I think he's been above 22% pass rush win percentage in each of the last 2 seasons, which, specialized roles, right? They're only putting them on the field kind of in these specialized pass rush situations, but 22% pass rush win percentage is Nick Bosa, it's Myles Garrett, it's TJ Watt, kind of stuff. So even though it's streamlined, and I think he'll be playing a higher volume role, so that's going to go down naturally, he still knows how to get after the passer. So I think that's great. Obviously, you throw in a guy like Josh Sweat. They've got Nolan Smith as well. I still think that this is a really strong unit in Philadelphia. And then the third team for me was not the San Francisco 49ers. And it's kind of because of what you said. I look at Nick Bosa, I look at Javon Hargrave, but then I like Leonard Floyd, but then it's like Malik Collins, Yetur Gross-Matos, Jordan Elliott, Drake Jackson. You mentioned it. Those 2 guys, Hargrave and Bosa, are basically carrying this group. And I think it's a good group, but when I look at what the Detroit Lions have, I like that group better. Aiden Hutchinson, DJ Reader now, the year Aleem McNeil had last season, Marcus Davenport, if he's fully healthy, which I know is an if, I think that he could be a really solid second defensive end opposite Aiden Hutchinson. You got Josh Pascal as well. You got James Houston still on the team. You've got John Kaminsky. You've got some guys in depth. I like Detroit's defensive line, even though it is not as star-studded as the one in San Francisco with their top 2 players. It's not that far behind, and I think they're a lot deeper than San Francisco's unit is.
Yeah, no, they definitely have more depth. It really is how much do you value? Nick Bosa is, let's say, as good as any pass rusher or any edge rusher in the NFL, right? The top of that tree, I think, is a movable thing every year between him, Myles Garrett, TJ Watt, Micah Parsons. Any one of those guys could be the best guy in any given year, but I think all of them are at that level of they're as good as it gets. He's at that level. Aiden Hutchinson's at the next tier down, which is still insane, but isn't quite as good as Nick Bosa. Maybe he gets there this year. He's still getting better. I think Javon Hargrave is certainly, as a pass rusher, is a better player than either Reader or Aleem McNeil, but the Lions have both of them, right? And then, at this point, as much as Marcus Davenport's got great potential and stuff, at this point, he's not moving the needle any more than Leonard Floyd is for me, based off where he is at this point in his career. So they definitely have more depth, particularly when you factor in guys like James Houston. But I think San Francisco's peak is definitely better with those players. So it really is how you value those truly elite guys versus the depth that you can bring to the table.
Yeah. I think Cleveland's also intriguing in this group, in this conversation. Obviously, you have Myles Garrett, who's just a true freak of nature. They bring back Zadarius Smith, which I think was big. They've got Dalvin Tomlinson. So, like, I think that this Cleveland defensive line is also a really good one.